come in?
Yes, you may come in, honey. You can come in. I'm sorry. I was just having some trouble setting up. Come on in. Make sure you get the PDN. Make sure you get the PDN. Make sure you get the PDN.
Boom. It's 30.
Make sure you get the PDN. Make sure you get the PDN. Okay, guys. In and settled. Make sure you get the PDN. Go on. In and settled.
All right. If I have to get tissue, do I have to ask?
I would like you in and settled, please. Okay. Everybody should have their name on their PDN. Aaliyah, do you have the PDN?
Recording the class.
We're already recording.
I just want to double check. And I'll show you how to upload it. Convert it and upload to Google Classroom. Did you do that as well?
We're already uploaded.
Okay.
We're good. We're good. Guys, why are we goofing around? Don't want. No one wants that. Nobody wants that. Okay.
I did the wrong way.
Excellent. Okay. We're working on our PDN. I'm going to be handing back the crash course sheets from yesterday. This is a short PDN because, come on. Guys, why is there so much mumbling in the back? Because these are very short, straightforward questions. We're gonna finish the video today, so I'd like to be able to just go through, get it completed, and be able to make sure that we are turning in both assignments, okay? Just here, honey, you're gonna need the assignment from the table. Now, after I hand back the sheets that I have, if you were not here yesterday, you will need the assignments from yesterday, okay? So, if you were not here yesterday, please tell me that you were not here so that you can remind me, all right?
Thank you.
Jaleel, you need to stop.
No, I was 30 on the one. Just about I was 30. Just so much. This nigga good. So sharp ass people.
Stop. All right. This was the pre-work that we did yesterday. Questions on the back. This is the classwork that we started yesterday. Julia. Do this. Why have you not gotten any info on the Hmm? You were here. Let's go. We should be. If you're not on number 2, you should be by this point. And as I said, this is a shortened PDN, so we're about to share out. That's why I didn't actually set the timer today. We covered both of these yesterday. All right, my dears, let's talk about both of our PDN questions. So question number 1, what does it mean to boycott, or what is a boycott? Demetrius? Careful. Delon?
The type of protest that people do and not do something, and
Okay.
if the person that's like posting that thing that people not doing lose their profits.
Okay, that's a good way to describe it, because you're including the way that people feel that are experiencing the boycott. So it is a form of protest where you are you're not doing something. Either buying or using a product. It could be a service. So when we talk about a boycott, yes, dear. Yeah, you can wear it if you're cold. So if we're talking about a boycott during the colonial period, they were boycotting the use of the stamps on paper, right? So that initial boycott was a boycott on a particular product. In the 1960s, we see a boycott on the use of the busing services because it was to stop the racist practices of causing black riders to have to give up their seats to white riders. Okay? That's a way to say we don't like the rules here. And because so many people stopped using the service, the companies had to listen. Okay? Does this make sense? All right. So, from yesterday's activity, who did we find out were leading these protests? All right, Jamash.
You talking about the second question?
Yes, the second question. Sorry.
Daughters of Liberty and Sons of Liberty.
Nice. The Daughters of Liberty. The Daughters of Liberty. And the Sons of Liberty. So, if you didn't have these answers, make your paper look like the board. I did them in different colors so you would know that the purpley pink is number 1 and the blue is number 2. Okay? Especially since several of you were not with us yesterday, either physically or mentally.
Big
Okay, so while you are getting that down, I want to just go over our general housekeeping items. So today you're going to be turning in your PDN. We're going to be completing our crash course worksheet. So you're going to be turning in 2 things to me. Don't pay attention to this homework thing. It's actually for a later class. Our objectives, we're going to be focusing on what are the events that led to revolution and whether or not the revolution was universally supported. Yes. Let me get through just these dates and then you may. Some updates were the grades all in. No, the grades are not all in yet. But if you missed Monday's test and you have not completed it, you need to get that in. So if you have not seen me for Monday's test, you need to see me for Monday's test, especially if I already gave you a pass and you didn't show up. Can you please see me for Monday's test? I need you to come and see me for Monday's test, particularly come during Target 3.0 and make up your test. This coming Monday, we don't have school. And then on Wednesday, there's PSAT testing, so we won't have class. It's real important that we pay attention to these coming schedule changes because before you know it, it will be the end of first quarter. And I don't want you to be in a situation where you're like, oh my gosh, what do you mean that there's no more time to turn things in? Okay? So that's why these announcements are super important. Cool?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. All right, we're going to switch gears to our crash course sheet. So if you do not have your crash course sheet out, please have it out now. So please have it out now. Avanza today. Let's go. So have Crash Course out, please, and thank you. Okay, why is this not coming over? All right. Am I correct that we left off on the 5? 5. Okay.
We left off at question 10.
Okay. I was referring to the 5 colonists, but it's okay. It was my bad. I was trying to use shorthand for remembering. La 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 la. And we're probably going to get an ad again because I left it sit.
Famously Crispus Attucks, a sailor of mixed-race ancestry. And then of the 9 British soldiers put on trial, 7 were acquitted.
All right. So yes, thank you, Karan. I appreciate you. All right. We are going to return back to our video. We left off with what famous event? Where are we? Okay, we left off with the colonists that were on trial for what violent event? It wasn't so much a protest as a it was a fight. It was a kind of a riot. It was. It did start off as a snowball fight. What do we call this event, though? Do we remember? What do you think, Nathan?
Boston Massacre.
Nice. Good job. Boston Massacre. Good job. Okay. Good job. All right. So it's just a little bit of a refresher as to where we were. I know that it was all the way yesterday and sometimes leaves us a little bit fuzzy. Okay? So
The American cause. But overall, boycotts and protests were effective, and British merchants pushed for the repeal of these acts, leaving only a tax on tea. Let's go to the thought bubble. The 1773 Tea Act offered tax exemptions and rebates for tea coming in from the British East India Company, which allowed them to dump cheap tea on the colonies, which actually lowered the price of tea. So why were the colonists so mad that on December 16, 1773, they dressed up as Indians and dumped...
Okay. Jamaj, what did they dress up as? Indians. You can write either Indians or Native Americans. It's your choice. So for number 12, they dressed up as Indians or Native Americans. Now, we talked about this the other day. This is some pretty racist stuff. They're dressing up as Indians. Why would they do that? Yeah, it's a disguise. Now, it's not a good disguise, though, because for many of them, they're still wearing their regular clothes, but they're just kind of throwing on some Native American, extra Native American pieces on over their clothes. They're putting on like some war paint, some feathers, and going on there and kind of acting like fools as they go on the ships. So they go on the ships and they throw everything off and they're like, woo, and making a bunch of noises in like the worst and most racist way that they possibly can to make it seem like, oh, a bunch of natives threw it off of here. But the thought behind it was what they were doing is a crime, because look how much money that they were costing the English government. It's a huge amount of money. That's $4 million. And because they're protesting the government, this is essentially treason. Do we know what treason is?
Money lost or something?
Oh, it's worse than that.
Debt?
Well, okay. The crime of treason, the punishment is usually death. But the crime itself is to essentially work against your own country. And remember, we didn't have America at this point. Yes, sir.
Is that going to the next one?
Say what?
Is that going to the next one?
No. I just wanted to explain what it was as to why somebody would be willing to do this and why someone would be okay with making these types of choices. Because a lot of times this can be confusing as to why someone would go, why is this so serious? Because a lot of times this is confusing to people as to, well, what's the big deal? Why would you disguise yourself? Why would people go, oh, why are you freaking out? It's a big deal because you're essentially committing an act that at least the British government saw as this should be punishable by death. We're willing to murder you over this. And the colonists knew that that could be the outcome. So even though they did this in possibly the most racist way they could, there was the real chance that they could be thrown into a British prison facing the death penalty. So there is the reality that they're using these costumes to cover up this very real chance of being executed. No, I don't want your ad. It's because there was so much
Hello,
time.
my name is Evan. Hi, my name is Arnav Kapala.
I'm Jen.
Okay.
Boston Harbor to cause the modern equivalent of a $4 million loss?
Why is
Some
that
colonists
not
were
an
upset
energy
that cheap tea would cut into the profits of smugglers and established tea merchants, but most were just angry on principle. To our great national shame, tea was at the time as important a beverage in the colonies as it was to Brits living in Britain, and to allow the British to tax a near universal product set a precedent that Britain could tax whatever they wanted. But the Tea Partiers miscalculated, thinking that the British would back down in response to their protest. Instead, the British responded by passing a series of...
Okay. So the Tea Partiers thought if they threw all this tea into the harbor, the Brits would back off, much like when we were protesting using the boycott method. But instead, what did the Brits do?
Passed on a series of laws called the Interpretable Act? No.
They're
Oh,
gonna pass. All I'm looking for is the intolerable acts. The intolerable acts. So rather than backing off, Josue, we're writing that down? Yes? For number 13, we're writing down intolerable acts. we're on the sheet that says taxes and smuggling. Nope, we're not playing with our pencils. We're writing down on taxes and smuggling. Intolerable acts. Okay? I underlined it on the screen. Intolerable acts. So instead of backing down, because if you remember when they protested before, the Brits repealed the Stamp Act. But now the Brits were like, oh, we're tired of your misbehavior. We're tired of you acting like children. We're going to double down and put a bunch of laws that you're not going to like. We're going to punish you misbehaving children.
We'll send you to the corner.
So let's see what those punishments were.
Came to call the Intolerable Act. The Massachusetts Government Act curtailed self-government there. The Quartering Act forced colonists to house British soldiers in their homes.
Okay, so we talked about this before. What forced colonists to house British soldiers in their homes? Demetrius. The Quartering Act. And it's right there at the top of your screen. The Quartering Act. The Quartering Act. For number 14, which is not on your phone. The Quartering Act, right at the top of your screen.
Whoa. That was super uncalled for. What?
I said, oh,
Hey, watch it.
All right. Now, this is going to anger a lot of people, particularly those areas that had been exposed to these various intolerable acts in extreme measures.
The Quebec Act extended the southern boundary of Quebec and granted religious toleration to Catholics, which was none too popular with the Great Awakening crowd having recently awoken. The colonial response to these acts is really the start of the American Revolution. First, Massachusetts passed a set of resolutions calling for colonists to 1. Disobey the intolerable acts, 2. Stop paying taxes, and 3. Prepare.
Okay, so Massachusetts comes up with a 3-part plan. And notice with number 15, there are 3 steps. So Demetrius, tell me the first part of their plan.
Burn the intolerable act.
Not so much burn it, but do what?
It's disobey.
Yeah, disobey. Disobey the intolerable acts. Okay, so that's A. Disobey the intolerable acts. So disobey the intolerable acts. Letter A is disobey the intolerable acts. We're writing it down.
That rhymes.
All right, Dylan, tell me the second one.
stop paying the taxes and commit tax fraud.
Stop paying your taxes. But don't worry, it's not tax fraud if the taxes are essentially dumb taxes or like unjustifiable taxes.